Yeah.
Duval football legend, Paxson football legend, motherfucking 12 interceptions as a senior in high school, man. How you feeling, man?
I feel I ain't gonna lie, I feel like I'm 17 again. I do this thing where it's like if I really need to feel away, I'll pick an age and I just be that age again. So I'm feeling like junior year type deal.
Gotcha. You feeling like greatness is about to come.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. So man, we just wanted to thank you for being the first Creative Moments interview, man. We really appreciate that. For real, man. So let's get into it, man. So what got you playing the game? Who first put the ball in your hands?
Uh so what happened was a kid got tackled and he threw it in the air and I caught it and then they said run. I was 8 years old. Nah. I used to go outside a lot as a kid in Savannah, Georgia. That's where I'm from. So you think Jacksonville poor, make it smaller and more poor, and that's Savannah, Georgia. So we go outside, we do creek shit, we do little rascal shit, we do all that stuff. And we do a lot of sports, and like our parents don't care. We outside, they see us, we whatever, we tough. And we had Tackle Loco. It was called Hot Ball when I got here. But it's like, give a dude,
It's called what?
Tackle Loco.
Tackle Loco.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny. Everybody did call it something different. In Miami, they call it throw 'em up, bust 'em up.
Throw 'em up, bust 'em, yeah.
Somebody call it everything different. But
Yeah.
that's when you really figure out who wrong, who ain't.
Exactly.
Yeah. But go ahead, man.
So we was doing Tackle Loco, and I was a gymnast. My dad was like teaching me how to do flips and stuff, and I actually spent some time at an actual gym. So it's like my balance is good, and I don't see myself as I gotta stay on my feet. I see myself as I got 3 points of contact, 2 feet, and whichever hand the ball not in. So if I can put my hand on the ground and I got 2 points of contact, I'm up. It ain't one. So that's how I always saw football. I could crawl if I got to. And kids will just be trying to sling me around. I'm like 8, I'm playing with 10, 11, 12-year-olds and stuff. They trying to toss me. I'm a little small, and that's where I got all my kind of left-right from. But then I got here to Jacksonville, and I just learned that it was way too much left-right. And I was like, ain't enough north-south. And then I was a bigger kid. Then I became like a fullback. I started as a lineman when I started officially playing when I got here, because I ain't officially playing until I got to Jacksonville. But I started as a lineman, really started learning how to compete, firing off and stuff like that. And then once I gained my confidence about running into people, like now that I got pads and stuff, that's when they started giving me the ball or like stepping me back to linebacker. And so it was a progression. I had to learn football inside out. I had to learn how to block. I had to learn how to get off a block. Then I had to learn how to tackle, how to run the ball. Then I had to learn how to cover, how to throw one, how to catch one, whatever. So I'm very ground up, rugged, old school style football, but I got that kind of flash in me just because of all the other stuff that I kind of grew up around.
Got you. 3 yards in the cloud of dust bag.
Yeah.
They don't do that no more, man. So, do you come from a family of athletes?
Yeah, I come from a family of military folk, primarily, so in shape for sure, strong for sure. As far as athletes, I had 2 cousins that played for Tuskegee, Cortland and Drayton Florence. Drayton actually is getting inducted into another Hall of Fame for something, football related, of course, but he's got his jersey retired at Tuskegee. I believe he has his jersey retired in Ocala, Florida at Vanguard. And he played in the league for 13 years, Chargers, Jags, Bills, Broncos, Lions, Panthers he ended with. But I seen him go through all of that. He gave me a lot of my knowledge about what goes on in the NFL world, and he actually helped facilitate me through a lot of entrepreneurial things when I was younger. So just staying under his wing and him teaching me like DB, and watching him play, meeting the other athletes. I got to meet Terrell Owens, LaDainian Tomlinson, like names like that. It was cool growing up around the sport and watching those guys play, see them be great. So.
Gotcha. So you got to meet LaDainian Tomlinson, the TO from. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's really dope.
Yeah.
Man. So what was it like? So what year did you meet LaDainian Tomlinson?
I met LT. What game was it? I don't remember what game it was. I just remember it was after a game, so that means it had to be around 2005 5 or
Oh, that's
6.
prime LT. LT
Yeah,
God.
yeah. It had to be either 2005 or 2006. We went to a game, and I got to dap him up and just you know what I'm saying. Just they go LT for real. Like that's the dude. Like I love how he played. My favorite running back all time. Like that's the dude. Play on my cousin team. I don't. When I first started playing football, I wanted the number 21 because of LT. I was a Chargers fan because my cousin played for the Chargers, but I was an LT fan. Hell no, the ball. I want that.
Right.
I want to score. So he was Mr. Scope, Mr. Everything.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of take that moniker now as well. Just like LaDainian Tomlinson could do, he was a football player, an offensive football player. That's how I see myself on offense. I'm an offensive football player. I could do everything he could do. So I wanted 21, and then my family, seeing that, you know, my cousin, number 29 or whatever, we picking out jerseys on the day or whatever. And I actually played, the first team I played on, I played with my cousin that I met here. And he had 29, and I went and got 21. And our family made us switch jerseys. And I was like, ain't no fucking way. I still got that jersey. And I'm like, y'all, wow, bro. First time I would have ever got the number, and y'all just switched it on me. And that's why I have this thing about that number. But dang. Yeah, but that's kind of where it was like with me around that time. So.
Damn, now that I think about it, every time we played together, you did have number 21. Now, damn, it's good to know. Okay, see, I'm learning stuff too in these interviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, had to fight for that.
So, how were your high school years academically?
Yeah, easy. Paxton, sorry. Paxton trash. I see why Stanton was better than us, because they actually get traumatized out there. And like, it's a bit of a joke in hindsight because of, you know, talking with a lot of Stanton folks, Paxton folks about like what those times were like. Nah, bro, we may have gotten screwed as my personal class, like when they gave us the most APs of all time with 9. Like, how you gonna tell high school students, yeah, take 9 college courses before you graduate, and then you see it get too hard and you be like, all right, we see y'all finna be seniors, and we not gonna punish y'all by making y'all take 9 and going back to 7. Y'all get to finish taking y'all 9. Everyone else though, hey, we going to 7. It used to be 6, but this 9 shit was hard, so we going to 7. But seniors, we know a lot of y'all got 7. Nah, you still got the last 2. It's like, well, what was that? So that was our side, and then Stanton's side is just, oh, y'all don't want to know. If you want to know, you know, it's a lot of news articles. Not good ones, but it was rough times, and that's why the pressure was on, bro. In Jacksonville, there's a lot of intelligent people. It's just not a lot of resources, and it's not a lot of opportunity, and it's very dangerous out here for like youth. So around those times, like, oh, school was pressure. Like if you don't get good grades and graduate and get out of here, you might not see 25. So it was serious, and all the parents was gonna be serious about that. So everybody had that kind of pressure on them. But myself personally, like, it just did not faze me. I'm like, nah, everybody been telling me I'm gifted all my life. I actually tried to get out of it and they put me back into it. I was like, whatever. I'm like, school is just actually boring. I come here because my friend's here. And then my senior year was like, you know what? I need people to know that I'm literally not trying in school. Because I'm starting to feel like I'm a bit too average. Now that I know that, like, I'm getting recruited by like Ivy League schools, I got to start looking like an Ivy League student. So like my senior year of high school, I got all A's the entire year, and I even taught like some of the classes I was in. So.
Sorry about that.
Nah, it's all good. Got to. But yeah, like that's essentially what high school was for me. It was very easy for me, and it was just a social gathering type of thing for me. Because I like when it felt more like a college campus when we were younger. It's like people dancing out, break dancing outside, flipping off the walls, poetry cipher circles, or inside beating on the tables and stuff. Like, you know, that you go somewhere at lunch, it's something to do. After school, it's something to do. That's what school was. Go somewhere, get your friends, do something. It's a little different now, but back then when it really felt like you go to school and you're not just there to get grades and go home, like, it was better for all of us. And I think that's why, like, our era of people are so special. It's just because school was actually a place where you could do the stuff that you would do back at home, but safely. So around that time, it was easy for people who were always at school, and it was hard for people who had to take that burden home underneath their supervision. So it got tough for me, it was just like I got A's, doing my thing, and so it was fun being the guy, but it was annoying being the guy that everybody was like, damn, they go to curve, and it's like I can't. All right, whatever. I gotta fail with y'all to be friends, but
I can't succeed.
I swear, bro. That's why being intelligent is hard. Nobody wants you to be smart, especially if it's at the expense of like their goals. You can't get a 99 on the test because if I got a 59 and I need to pass, I only get a 60. But if you was dumber, I have a 71 and you know what I'm saying? That's how people started to game high school. And then I started to it got to me a little bit, but then I was just like, man, let me just help y'all. So that's how school kind of transitioned for me.
That's a good way of looking at it, man. A lot of people wouldn't have said, let me help y'all. Everybody just be like, and I'm going to get my A.
Man,
Fuck y'all.
I swear.
But yeah, man. So let's stop for a second and speak to why do you think everybody was trying to leave Jacksonville in like from up until like 2018 really? Everybody
Yeah.
wanted to get out of here. Why do you feel like it was that way?
I think it was just nothing to do. Like I've always said, even at a younger age, like Jacksonville is a city for like 35s and older. Like to really appreciate Jacksonville, you gotta have an old school heart and soul to you, cause you're gonna have to be able to show love where it feels like you're not supposed to. You're gonna have to deal with everybody kind of going through things. You're gonna have to find ways to try to get out into the community, do something for the community, and not just like do service. Go out into the community and have fun. Like go to Art Walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't gotta know how to rap to go in on Lyricist Live. They just like, hey, express yourself. Don't cuss. Express yourself. It's just places like that all around the city, and people really give like they all to put they just had Duval folks. Shout out to Giella. Like people are passionate about creating these spaces so that we can continue to be ourselves here. And we as like organizers didn't have the support we needed to like really thrive here. And you saw a lot of special people go and do it other places. Now, what's great is a lot of those people have returned and brought it back here. Like even myself, like I have the option to be a couple different places, but my heart right now is right down the street at Paxton. Like I'm trying to win this school's first championship, and we get closer and closer. By technicality or formality, we get closer, and that's okay with me because we ain't never been there. So if all of my time, being here, I wouldn't call it a sacrifice because I signed up for this. I don't sacrifice for this. This is what I'm here to do. But I had to go away and continue to do it, learn how to do it better. I had to do other things to learn different perspectives to be able to help all the different guys that need different types of support so that they can develop. That's one thing we kind of missed is how do we develop people who don't think like us? And that's hard in Jacksonville. Nobody think the same. So we all kind of went our separate ways for a little bit. Then we all, came back. We rallied in this little abstractive period. But like, you look at our community of people now, we leading the way. So apparently we done found some answers and we are building on what we started. I don't see nobody that started something quit yet. Everybody's still going. So I'm proud of that whole sort of generation. If leaving is what it took as a collective, I'm glad everybody decided to bring it back. So.
Yeah, everybody left. After high school, everybody was like, all right, where can I go that's not Jacksonville?
Swear to God.
Thanks, man. So, okay. So, let me ask you a question, man. I heard when I was in high school, because just to let all the people know, we went to high school together. I heard, like, your GPA was like a 4.4, a 4.5, a 4.6. What was it for real?
It was a 4.2, but
4.2. Gotcha.
it was a slight 4.2 though. Like I say it's a 4.2. I say a slight 4.2 because I know I didn't try. I didn't try my sophomore year, and I damn sure I didn't try my junior year. But like my freshman year, I was like, all right, nah, like I gotta do school right, because I was just coming out of middle school where it was more kind of fun. But I was like, no, I gotta get serious about my life. It's funny telling a kid who like in gifted classes and shit doing other shit like, yeah, you gotta straighten up, bro. You only making A's, B's, and maybe a C here, bro. You gotta tighten up. Like that's how I think because of my parents. My dad and my mom actually being in the military and like really using discipline as a way to keep me out of like the problems in Savannah and such. You know what I'm saying? So there go me. Is that an alarm?
I'm gonna do it just like Sean Cotton do it. Put that little transition.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's just my meditation alarm. Buddhism, love that.
So let me ask you another question, man. So how were your high school stats on the field? I know you know them. Everybody know their high school stats.
So off the top of my head, I know I had around 2,000 all-purpose yards my junior year, but I didn't score. I had 81 tackles, 81-ish. If not 81, a little higher than 81, but I'm pretty sure it was 81. That's when I was counting. I was counting tackles in film sessions. So it's like I'm taking in the film and all of this, like, yeah, but it's like I'm my fingers here. 1, yep, that's 2. Am I in on that one? 3. Like that's how I'm feeling the whole time. So I counted. I know I had like 81. I had 12 interceptions across my whole stint there, and I believe I had, I want to say 4 my junior year, because I got the pick 6 versus Mark Brunell's Episcopal. Yes, sir. I got that one on camera, but they just ain't never did the special on it because they lost. Aha. Aha. We don't win many games, but we won that one. That's the Brunell Bowl to me, because that's when I got my first defensive touchdown. It's like a 80-something yard pick 6. Brown will tell you it's 92. The play changed every time Brown tell it, but it's like it's the first play on my highlight reel my junior year. It's like cover 2, played both the routes, caught it, everybody slow. So that was a good feeling, and really like made me feel good about something that I have with the school. So I really pride myself on the interceptions, because them shits was hard, and I dropped a few that I shouldn't have, quite a few, including senior year. We played against Forest. It's the game after I hurt myself after homecoming versus Yulee. So I got a bum Achilles, and I'm mad because it's like I got to go to Harvard for real. I'm like, I got to ball out. Forrest, sorry. I'm finna study them up all week. They trash. He trash. Quarterback definitely trash. I'm here all game. I dropped I was almost on time to get a pick, like, in the first quarter. It was like, okay, I'm here to make the tackle. And niggas was like catching the ball like maybe 8 yards up the field, get tackled, and like look like they ready to fight. Like, yeah, I'm turned up. I'm like, it's the first quarter, bruh. Like, chill. Like, watch what happened when I figure you out for real. Like, I saw you on film. That's why I'm here. I'm here because I saw you on film. If I ain't look at the film, I would have been over there and you probably would have scored. I'm not trash. I'm already here. I know where you're supposed to be. Wait till I figure out more. Boom, now I'm breaking shit up. Like, I'm getting there enough to hit the ball and you at the same time. Now I'm like, yeah, ain't nobody talking no more. Now I'm dropping picks. I'm breaking on it, boom, dropping them, or I'm swatting them. I'm like, yeah, getting busy now. And now I'm just jumping shit. Now I ended up getting 3 interceptions. That was a school record. I still believe I got it. I think somebody tied it. And I would have had 4, but then they put my backup in around the end of the third quarter, Dukes. But I told Dukes, I was like, hey, like, just do this whenever you see this and whatever. Dukes do it, interception. I believe it was Dukes. If it wasn't Dukes, it was Darrell. Either Dukes or Darrell. But they went in, probably Darrell, because Dukes usually play up by my side. So, yeah, Darrell went in. Darrell go in, I tell Darrell to do, Darrell get an interception. And I'm like, that would have been 6, because I dropped 2 before, caught 3, and then I told him how to get one. So it was like, yeah, I just got all y'all mapped out, bro. So, like, the 12 interceptions is, like, my big stat, but I forced a lot of fumbles, recovered a lot of fumbles, tackling machine, well over 200 tackles. I think I had, like, 400 or 500 or so all-purpose yards my sophomore year, and I think a touchdown or 2, I think. No, 1 touchdown. I scored twice in my high school career, 1 on offense, 1 on defense. And the rest is just being a great player. Like, I really can't really look at my stats because they don't tell the story, because I didn't play on a team. So statistically, it looked like I was a decent player, and it looks like I had a breakout year and a solid senior year. But the full story is like I've never played better football than when I did in high school. And if you look at who was around me, you'll see how much I had to kind of compensate for certain things, but we still made it work.
Yeah, I remember that game, man. I remember when you had the 3 picks, man. You kept us in a lot of games. At best. But yeah, man. So, with you producing that much on the field and your grades being what they were, what kept you from being one of the top recruits in Jacksonville in the nation?
I went to Paxson. I went to Paxson, bro. We lose historically. Historically, we are losers. So it's like we're the back pocket school, and we still kind of are. It's like you come to Paxson once all the little 5-4 stars then got their little offers signed off that you couldn't get. So you come over to Paxson, you're like, who's that running back they got? Who that? Okay, look at him for a little bit. Like that's the school we got over at Paxson. Like we have athletes because we got guys who want it. I'm usually trying to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys to really like get to that point that they need to be. So we have guys who can play on the next level. It's just putting it together that we haven't been too successful at. But we get closer and closer and closer. Whether it shows on the win-loss record, whether it shows on the statistics, it shows how many kids we get into school every year. Whether or not we win in games, we win in graduation, and we are winning kids playing on the next level. If that's not a winning program up front, then we need to change our priorities about how we look at football in Jacksonville. But overall, hey, the bricks are still being laid. The bricks are still being laid, and it's a beautiful thing to see what you can kind of make out of situations like a Paxson, because you still got to get these kids into school. That's one thing I learned with myself. I had D1 looks and such. I said, no, I don't want to go D1 because I learned about, 1-year renewable scholarships. I'd rather go Ivy Leagues where I can get guaranteed admission. And due to how much money my parents made joint, I just get to go for free. And then scholarship money, so on and so forth. So I was always looking to make the best financial decision as well while getting out of Florida. But overall, it's like Paxson is so hard to get recruited out of, and it's just because we're historically a bad team on paper.
So what's a 1-year renewable scholarship? What's that? Because I'm sure a lot of players right now that's playing high school ball over there.
Listen, the NCAA is a business. It is a business. That means when you get on these teams, it ain't like high school where you sign up and it's a club. It's a job. These scholarships are contracts. You come here, you get valuable information from the world, you play football for us, we make money off of it, but we give you a better opportunity at this game of life. And you should be thankful for the opportunity. 1, 2, 3. 1-year renewable scholarships is when you get that full ride scholarship offer at the age of whatever old you are. There's a clause that your scholarship is 1 year renewable, which means that you can be guaranteed a full ride depending. Every year they have to recertify, I don't know if that's the word, but they have to kind of reaffirm that scholarship for you because they have a certain amount of scholarship spots that they can give out to students. Everyone else is walk-ons or whatever. So if they feel like this one guy is out hustling you, well, they renegotiate your contract. You can still be on the team, but we're going to take you off scholarship and give it to this guy. Because he's struggling. He's maybe saying, I'm producing, but, I may have to leave the team for this or that reason, maybe financially. Hey, we like you better. 1 year renewable. All right, your guy, you had your year. This was your year of your scholarship. We're going to move you off scholarship. We're going to move it to this guy. You can still be on the team. You didn't lose a spot. You just lost a scholarship, maybe because that guy was producing a little more, and now in their mind, hey, we can do that. That's what makes a lot of these guys kind of leave their situations. It's about how useful are you, and what's your situation, and how are they going to finesse what they can do on their end with these 1 year renewable scholarships to keep the right players, push the right players out, this, that, and the third. So if you got a full ride for 4 years, you have a spot on the team for 4 years. You don't get money for 4 years. The scholarship is renewable. Your spot is guaranteed until you are no longer needed. So you really and truly got to be on your P's and Q's when you play college football. A, because somebody could take your spot. B, because your scholarship, if you're in Division I football, 1 year renewable, and that's kind of the benefit of going D2, D3, whatever. The scholarship rules are different, and a lot of it is more academic money. They help you out through those financial aid systems. I went to Worcester. It was a $40,000 to $50,000 university a year, but I cut that down to about $17K a year off of the dean scholarship, which is about $30,000, and then other grants and stuff. They kind of pick and choose for identity purposes, sports purposes, just money that old white people give to school.
Okay. See, I'm learning a lot. I did not know that shit at all. So do you think that's the other side of the transfer portal, or why? Like, okay, I lose my scholarship, but you still want me to be on the team, but I can go over here and get paid. You know what I'm saying?
It's become that way, and that's why I say, like, that's what I said earlier about we got to stop treating high school football like a business. This is where we learn how to be men. This is not where we earn money. Ain't nobody said you was going to earn money at 16, 17, 18. Definitely not thousands. Maybe hundreds at your part-time. Not thousands. Not tens of thousands. Not millions. We're setting the bar for like success way too soon for a lot of teenagers, and they never get the chance to develop into men. We give them all the toys before they learn how to be responsible with it. And so when we talk about things like the transfer portal, we're talking about guys who are trying to take care of their families. They're going to make the best financial decision. Football is the tool. A lot of these guys love the game. A lot of these guys need the game. So the difference that happens there is guys are going to transfer based on their situation. Guys are going to transfer because they can see situations coming up that's not favorable to them. And we're introducing like NIL deals. I got one of my interns for my stuff. He just graduated from Worcester as well, and we do independent studies there. We get to choose what we get to research. And he did a whole research paper on NIL deals and kind of the back dealings of that. And I've also, as an entrepreneur, been able to speak to some of the people who are in the earlier NIL deals, who are trying to weed out like the good deals versus the bad deals and helping out kids on that side. I've just spoken to these people about how that system functions. And so what I learned is that no, they just bump the business down another like year of maturity. So the same way the NBA is trying to figure out, can we let them come out of high school? Should they do a year of college? That's what's kind of happening with the transfer portal and NIL deals in college. We said, okay, these men are no longer amateurs. So now it's business as usual. Guys are 18, 19, 20 years old getting treated in the business world like a 28-year-old NFL player, and they're not ready for that world. So that's what's kind of happening now.
Wow. So you said you ended up going to Worcester. So when I was in high school, I was so convinced, like even my dad was convinced, like you were supposed to be going to Harvard. So tell me what happened with that situation, man.
So my junior year of football, I balled out because I knew like I needed to get to school. And I had FAU on the line, I had FIU, I had Mid Tennessee, Michigan, Cincinnati, a couple different places knocking on my door, handwritten letters, camp invites, ask it, name it. I was talking to them. Like I said, I learned a little bit about the 1 year renewable situation, and so I was a little bit kind of hesitant, and I started looking at other D2, D3. Like nothing was off the table for me when I was a junior. 1, 2, skip a few. Our head coach, Coach Lundy, shout out, gets fired, and it's like he was the one helping me through all of this. He was getting the schools to come. He was like, well, senior year, and then like it was my time to be a captain. We was finna figure it out, go to the I don't know, do something. We was about to do something. And he gets fired. I get told to come to the office. I get a stack of letters. They're all Ivies and little Ivies. And I'm like, okay. My head coach is trying to get me. He said, he himself was like, yeah, no, stay away from that. Go here. So he's looking at me that way. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm looking at Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, Brown, name it. I'm looking at these schools now. And I learned about the whole how you can kind of, me being lower income, I could get better financial aid and stuff. It's just looking like a much better deal. I'm like, all right, if your name if the name of your league doesn't start with Ivy, we not talking. Not talking, because this is the better deal, better long term. Boom, I'm starting to really push for Ivy Leagues. My grades is getting better. I'm passing all these AP tests. I do more at the school. Like I became AP class senator. I became co-president of the poetry club. I volunteered as a track coach at Darnell Cookman. Did a whole bunch of things because I'm like, yeah, no, you got to compete now. Life is a competition. So age 17 years old, life is a competition because I'm trying to get into Ivy Leagues. All y'all trying to fight for Georgia, Florida, FSU, USC, y'all trying to fight for that. Fine, that is fantastic. Me, okay. I got to become the greatest motherfucker at all time at the age of 3. I got to figure out how to spin a story where since the age of 3, I knew I was the greatest. At 17, I'm the greatest. I just don't have the resources and I need the opportunity. That's what's going on in my mind at 17, thinking Ivy's is the way to go. Boom. I'm like Harvard. That's the one I see on TV. That's the one everybody talk about. If you say Harvard or Yale, people say Harvard because it sound cool. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to see what they talking about. Boom. I sign up for Harvard and Yale's camp because they're always the two. And so after my junior season, balled out, I'm like, yeah, what's up, Ivies? June 28th, me, my dad, and my mom, we go out to Cambridge, Massachusetts. We do a tour of Harvard first, and then the camp is, I believe, the following day. So we toured it the day we got there, I believe the 27th, and then the 28th was the day of the camp. And I got to the camp. It was 300 guys, and we had a first session, second session. First session was more information, combine. Second session, information, combine, individual drills. Second session, competition. So what happened during that camp was that they picked 7 kids from the 300 or so at that camp to have lunch with the head coach. I was one of the 7. And the part that sealed it was there was one, during individual drills, one drill, backpedal, break 45, get the ball. Boom, break 45, terrible throw. Threw that, just threw it. I'm like, ain't no way. There's like a walkway, a pavement walkway where like parents are, others, whatever. And that's where the ball is going. And I'm like, bro, I've been playing football for how long now? I'm a junior. I thought I had my arm broke during a season, but like I done felt it all. I had staph infection in my legs. I gotta dive one time. I actually went into the camp with tendonitis in both of my knees, specifically my left one, but both of them. Boom, I dive, hit the pavement, scar my arm up, had to get that wrapped up. I'm wearing a sandalwood helmet and shit because Coach Brown came in and he didn't have our helmets ready. So he called in a favor. I had a sandalwood helmet. I still got pictures from that shit. Boom, dive, boom, scar my arm. Every parent. I just get up, I walk back in line, jog back down the line, like whatever. I knew I wasn't gonna get that shit, but you see, I'll go for it. I don't give a fuck. Pavement there. This one sacrifice I gotta make in my life if it mean I get to go to this school. One play that I need to make in an individual drill for a ball I can't get. I'm used to jumping for shit. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Boom, scraped up. Whatever. Hey, head coach we want you to have lunch with the head coach. That was the camp for me. Compete a little bit, my knee get a little, we seen all we need to see from you. Thank you. Having a good time in Cambridge, I'm like, yeah, this is where I belong. This is where I belong. June 29th, we are in a car. We are going to New Haven, Connecticut. We are now going to Yale. So we're at Yale now. And it's like, my knee still hurt. I've already felt like I'm in there with Harvard. And Yale, like New Haven is ass. Like Cambridge was sunny. There was one moment where it was kind of like traditional and it felt like Assassin's Creed 2 or some shit. And then they'll get into like Harvard and then it's all like the campus you see in in any movie that Harvard is in. And then like they tell
Campus and how high.
Yeah, they tell you the cafeteria is like modeled after the one in Hogwarts and shit like that, and I'm just like, okay, boom. Then you break out into like the downtown area, Cambridge was like very like modern and sleek, kind of like how people see maybe the north side, like around Ocean Way and all that now in the airport. it's like that, but like more compact and more like how we see in the Social Network. So it's real cool, and I'm like, oh, this is hard. Like I'm with this. Like this is dope. And then you get the New Haven. It's rainy. It's gray. They got a ugly, like they got the Coliseum in Harvard, and then they just got this ugly kind of bowl. You got to drive under a bridge and shit. I think you know what I'm saying. Why do I have a weird kind of view of driving around the bowl, and I feel like we drove under something. I'm like, why the fuck does this like? Y'all come to practice to this? Oh yeah, it was terrible. They tried to sell us on so many different things that I was like, I would hate Connecticut, and it was like, yeah, Harvard, done deal. And then we get to what happened my senior year with the injury, the breaking the record, solid season. They invite me out to see to watch them play against Penn, which was the other school that was really into me. Like their running back coach came to, like, I came out of class because their running back coach was in Brown's office trying to sell me University of Pennsylvania. So that's two Ivies knocking on the door. I get to see both in the same game. Yeah, I'll come to that. Go to that game, Harvard killing Penn. Get towards the end of the game, Penn start to come back, Harvard seals it. And then finally, like, I get to the office, shake hands with Coach Ryan Crawford, and he tells me, hey, looking at giving you that offer spot. We had that conversation, boom, I got an offer to Harvard, and this is in like November 2013. Next thing I know, they're telling me, hey, you got to take these SAT 2s, which is like subject tests. So you'll take either the ACT or the SAT, probably both, because you got to go, you just need certain scores, but you have to take SAT 2 subject tests to get into Ivy Leagues. You have to take 2. Can't be in the same they can't be in the same subject. So you gotta have math and a literature, or math and a science, or blah blah blah. So that's how they do that. I took 3 of them because I tried to take 2 maths, and they took the higher of my maths and they took a literature one. But that being said, after you take all of those tests, they pretty much can like go to the admissions board, be like, hey, this is our guy, stamped on it, we good to go. We don't got to worry about nothing until money coming away. And that's where I was pretty much sitting. They call those likely letters. So not letters of intent, the offers that you sign if you go to a D1 or something. These are likely letters, which means that, hey, this kid is Ivy League ready, and we want this kid for our sports programs. Stamp him in. Those are likely letters. And for some reason, they just didn't follow through with mine. And then I'm getting a call a couple months later. Not a call. I try to hit them up through Facebook DM, because that was our primary means of communication. Dirt silence, quiet in there, graveyard. Then finally, it's February. We thinking about, whatever's going on in February at Paxson. Boom, hey, the guy that you were in competition with, like the one guy you were in competition with, a couple months ago, he got some offers from military academies and some other Ivies. He wants to take a visit. We want to give him a look. And how we want to do this is, if because you look better than he does academically and extracurricular wise, we want both of you. So we're gonna give him if he wants to go here, we're gonna give him the likely letter, and then we're gonna try to get you through, try to push you through regular admissions. Just try to put in a word type deal. And I was like, let me get on the phone real quick, because what the just my whole future is different now, because I don't know if this kid is gonna commit. So I'm like sweating. I'm like, bruh, am I going to this school or not? Next day, boom, call. Yo, what's going on? Like, did he? So he wants to commit. I was like, okay. And then the first thing I did was I hit up Worcester, because they hit me up in December, a couple weeks after I committed. And I told them I was already committed to Harvard. So because like they were the first to reach out to me after my commitment, I pulled back and like went to them. And that's how Worcester kind of happened, and a spin around, take a visit, see what's up, and lock in on it. And then a week later, Mount Union texted me. And now I would have went to Mount Union with my teammate, Brad Clapsaddle. Didn't happen, but like that was on the way as well. So like I didn't wait. I pushed the button. Worcester, what's up? Going to Worcester. Yep, going here, because I don't care. Now I don't care, because I earned it. I know who I am, and like I refuse to be disrespected like that. So I took it to Worcester.
Wow, man. I didn't know that story, man. That's wild. Literally, like, so when did you sign the likely letter?
So I never actually, like, you don't actually even really sign a likely letter. It's just kind of, it's more of a status. Like, you'll get a letter, but it's a status. So it's just like it's a guaranteed admission. And then everything else is just the admission process. Because it's very different when it comes to Ivy League, because there's early decision, early admit. Like, you really have to push early. Like, all the competition from the world getting into these schools, that's why I had to really like tighten up from junior to senior year, like start doing stuff for real. So like, man, it's so competitive to get into that school. But knowing that my best way in was like given to me and then ripped like from under me, I was like, you're not like that's just actually not fair. And I'm 18. Like now is the time where I need to have everything kind of laid out in my life. And you literally just pulled one of the greatest institutions in the world from underneath my feet off of being greedy. I earned it and you told me that. And then you said, okay, but I didn't want a spot on the team. I wanted to get into school. So
Wow. So November in your head, yeah, I'm going to Harvard, blah, blah, blah. February,
it's in the yearbook, bro.
snap. Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember that. Wow.
I have a graphic. So I do pop music in DC. Once I was nominated for Best Pop Album, they sent me like the graphics to put my picture in. And I put in a picture of me in like my Harvard hoodie, burgundy bandana, some glasses. I look real nice. But the main staple is Harvard hoodie, so that people think I went there. And it's just one big protest of like, yeah, look what you missed out on. Imagine being able to claim me for your school. Now Worcester gets to claim me, Leeds Beckett gets to claim me twice. Your fault. Everything I accomplished now in life could have had your name attached to it. I see y'all like doing that with Zuckerberg. Could have been me. I was a computer science major, graduated. Just finished a course in a week now, just to refresh myself. What's up? Like, it's that simple. You missed out, not me.
That's wild, man. That's crazy, man. Damn. That's mind blowing, bro. Cause it was like everything you worked for was right there, and they just snatched it. Like, right, wow.
That's when I learned you could work tirelessly, endlessly for what you deserve. There's just things that's just out of your control in life, and you can choose, like they say, you can choose your response to things like that. My immediate response was like, okay. And that's why I say I'm so underwhelmed. So underwhelmed. I'm so disappointed about like a system and a structure like that, because you get to play with so many people's lives. Not too many people in the world get the opportunity to really put all of their efforts into getting into an Ivy League school, to be pretty much accepted and then denied, but also then have the privilege to just be like, all right, you act like I can't do this nowhere else. And so that's where in my mind I knew I would always be above my institutions. And the fact that I knew that sooner is why I held so much power, or I hold so much power now, is because now my spite is kicking in. Because now the goals are accomplished. The goals are being finished. They're wrapping up. It's like, you were a stepping stone to accomplishing the goal, until you said, never mind, we aren't. And I was like, okay. Now Worcester is the stepping stone, and they gave me hell and some problems, but I still got my degree from there, and now I get to look at Worcester and be like, yeah, I look pretty important now. Remember when y'all gave me problems? I'm not gonna give you problems, but you could solve a lot of mine.
Okay. So, what kind of workout regimen were you on in that time?
Ooh, that was different from rolling in the end of high school, going into college. It was different because oh man, coaching was different around that era. It was harder and tougher. They were like, you had to exhaust yourself. They'd put you in a room with your guys and show you a Marine film to get you like willing to die for your team. And it was like, but how many of y'all are actually willing to die for this though? Cause like I'm getting to the point where I am, and I'm starting to see people fall off. And I don't know why. So getting into college is like a reality check for a lot of guys because the work is different. It's no longer, oh, I'm the man at my school, whatever, I was the man during our work regimen or whatever, and you get into college and now you can't keep up. A lot of guys get that. I get into college and I'm at camp, I run pretty much the fastest 300-yard shuttle average. So we had a 300-yard shuttle, and they said this before we got into the school. They said we had a 300-yard shuttle that they wanted us to be prepared for the most. So a lot of my time at the end of high school was spent conditioning, running stadiums, in gym. I ain't going out to play at gym first. I'm going to run these stadiums first, and then I'm going to sauce y'all in football, and that's every gym. If we inside playing basketball, all right, we inside playing basketball. But if we ever get to go outside and run, I'm running first. Don't care. And it's just running, a lot of running, individual drills out at these all parks, and not an emphasis on weightlifting, but I had to be strong. I was benching 300 coming out of high school, squatting 525, power cleaning 265. And taking that into college, I'm already ready. I'm only playing corner, should be. So I was already pretty prepared going in, and that was my personal work regimen. They were just kind of like, they streamlined it, made it efficient, made it healthy for me, instead of me just like having a go get it, go grind mindset that the coaches put into my brain. And that they still do it in college, but like they push it into the right channels. In high school, it's like rub some dirt in it football. In college is, okay, we have go see the trainer. And so once go see the trainer was introduced to me, I was like, oh, I get to recover and like do it at the same time. I don't got to just like be hurt all year. That's dope, because we didn't really have that at Paxton. So like it increased my longevity, which allowed me to work even harder. So we doing 2-a-days, we sprinting in the morning, we lifting afterwards. We do our meetings, practice, and then maybe another lift. A lot of guys like to lift again after that. So you are working. You in the gym probably. You in the gym or on the field, probably not 8-9 hours. Like a day or every day, or like if it's less than that, it's a little less than that because you got to cut back some. But I mean, you half of your day that you're up, you moving. You are moving. So that time was very kind of, I think I wasn't at my athletic peak in my later years in college. I had that workflow in me, but I would say because of how hard I worked, along with the regiment being streamlined into more health and wellness. When I was 18, 19, I was probably the second best athletically I've ever been. Now I'm finally better than I was when I was coming out of high school, and that's saying a lot.
Gotcha. Okay, so you know we got to give you a stat breakdown of what we can find
Yeah.
online. So for college. So let's see. Say 2014, right? You get your booster.
Mm-hmm.
You say you had 11 special teams tackles.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that's not easy to do. You know what I'm saying?
I played 4 games in my freshman year.
Wow. With 11 special teams
I quit because they wasn't treating me right. The respect ain't right. So specialty, what they tell you going into college is that you can earn a spot on special teams. And so they told us coming in, the best 11 start and play. And I'm like, oh, that's easy. I got to be better than one of 22 people. That is not difficult. But then what happens is you got to pay your rights. So you get put on special teams. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I love special teams. Special teams demon. Put me anywhere. Oh, I'm gunner. Oh, you done fucked up. Because I'm the crazy dude from Florida. I'm playing football in Ohio. Y'all are all stern, remember the Giants type players. No, you just go down south and there go Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I'm from. So you put me at gunner, you put a lunatic at gunner. And then out of 11 of those special teams tackles, I think 5 of them, or 5 or 6 came in a game. Yeah, 5 or 6 was in one game. And I was just smacking shit on kickoff. We kept scoring, and it was me. It's like, you just not. And then they tried to send someone across the way. The first one, he didn't knock me off. It just kind of like a boom. I'm like, oh, you coming? And then I knocked his ass out the second time, and then he stopped coming. So that was that game for me. It's like we kicking off again. I get to fuck somebody up, and so it turned into like 5 or 6 tackles.
Gotcha. So 2015, this your sophomore campaign. Over 40 tackles, a pick, fumble recovery, like you were the return man to 6 returns, 237 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
What was going on that season for you?
So that season, I had came back because my homies had talked me into coming back. They said I was gonna play offense. They said I was gonna play running back, and then they had moved me to linebacker because they tried to give me the linebacker throughout the year, my freshman year, and I wanted to play corner, but they just put me at like Sam. Well, we called it a zip. It's more like that hanger position now, but I was basically playing outside linebacker.
That hybrid safety linebacker.
That's where they had me, and that's where I play now because I just know the game better, and I don't want to be put in too many situations where I got to deal with outside receivers. But like that's where they tried to put me there, and it was a good like future thought. But I'm like, that's not me. I'm literally the best corner on the team. So they just tried to keep moving me in the box. So they tried me out at linebacker my sophomore year, and they hazed me. Me and 2 other sophomores that gave them some problems, I guess politically. They had this thing where they said, all right, we got new practice jerseys. Offense gets them up front. Defense has to earn them. Ugly yellow jerseys, and we're trying to get some black ones. And then you earn it by making plays throughout camp. I ball out every day at camp. I hate my position. I don't want to play linebacker, but I'm balling out. And then they wait for the last day to give us 3, our blacks. Everybody's sorry getting them before us. And we just like, all right. So you learn the lesson. I'm like, whatever. All right, I just ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna ball out because y'all said I can't say nothing. I'm gonna ball out. My first start at linebacker, I believe, is the second game of the season versus Allegheny, and I got 11 tackles, I think. And I flipped the tight end because everybody think I'm a bitch because I'm small or smaller. I was like by that point I was 195. I was 5'9", 195 at the beginning of the season. Small dude coming in tackles. You know what I'm saying? Everybody done seen some highlights here or there, big tight end trying to hurdle. I'm like, okay. WWE, flip over the shoulder, drop his ass. I was in revenge for someone hitting my homie on offense. So that's the type of football I came out with. I was like, yeah, I done been here before. I played linebacker. I just hate it. They just know I can tackle. Yes, I can tackle 11 times. Like, it don't matter. I'm on every pass. I'm on everything. Best coverage linebacker in the NCAC, easily and by far. It's like if I'm lined up in like coverage to your number 2, take him out the game. He's sorry. I played against one of the best receivers in the conference from the linebacker spot. I felt like he was sorry. So it's like that's my mentality that entire season. And then I was the return guy because one of our return men missed the bus in one of the games. And he was on his way to the game. And they needed a guy to return. And the special teams coordinator that year was actually the special teams coordinator at Rose-Hulman, I think, or Indiana Wesleyan, one of those. He was the special teams guy there, and he had saw my film in high school. He was recruiting me out of high school. So he already knew what I could do. He was like, yeah, just go back there. If you catch it, score. If not, block. I was like, okay. So boom, I get there. I don't get the ball. I'll block. The following game, they kick it to me. It bounced to me. I catch it. I'm like, y'all fucked up. I've been waiting to do something raw all year. I've been trying to earn this linebacker spot. They keep pulling it and taking it from me because they hate me. They told me I was going to play running back, so I get to prove something real quick. And I'm just mad because we losing. Y'all fucked up. I get the ball, boom, I run up. I got 2 lanes. I pick one, it close up. I pick the other one. A dude grab my hips. I spin out. I look to the side. I see green grass. I take off, and I'm just like, yeah, y'all suck. Y'all just not about to catch me. And they don't catch me, and I score my first kick return ever in college. And then that's when head coach want to jump for joy and shit, kiss me on the forehead. He Italian and shit. Dog, that nigga had never been more happy in his life to have me as a player in that game. Because not only did I score that kick return, I knocked away the last pass of the game to win it. Because that little receiver, one of the best receivers in the conference, he was just standing by his lonely on the other side after, like, the tip ball happened over here. It's like 8 motherfuckers here. They all jumping and shit. Someone swatted down and bounced off my homie helmet and go this way. So I see it coming from linebacker. I sprint it back because I'm like, it's the last play. I don't got to just sit here. I'm going to turn around and run. They knock it down. I see the ball go over there. I look at him. It's just that nigga. He finna sprint over, knock that bitch down, and I just go celebrate somewhere. Everybody just kind of celebrated at the pile of, like, where they got knocked down. I went somewhere else. Fuck y'all. I'm like, I hate everybody. I'm just raw. I scored and I won the game. All of y'all sorry. That's how I feel. And then head coach cheering for me and shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about none of this, bro. So, like, every time I got a return that year, I'm like, I'm going to try to house this bitch. Everybody go block. I don't care. This is the only freedom I get this year. I don't care what the scheme is. Give me the ball, everybody block. Ball, boom, boom. Almost scored again in my last game where I took it like 60-something yards after saucing everybody. I just got tired and I was fat because I was playing linebacker. I was 205 of just fat. I was sorry as hell. So it was like I'm making highlight plays, but not my best self because they keep trying to play me out of position. I have a different body type, but I'm still making the plays. So I was a spark plug kind of player. If I'm in the game, I'm affecting it, but you don't see me as a number one because I'm not being played like a number one. But special teams, demon.
Gotcha. So 2016 did not play.
Did not
2017 did not play. What happened in those 2 years?
2016, I came back here, and that was my first official year of coaching at Paxson. And yeah, that was the year after y'all. I came back for the spring game, and I was like, I'm gonna be here anyway. My sister got breast cancer, and that's why I came home. It was wild because I was thinking about transferring anyway. Like Worcester wasn't cutting out to be what I thought it was. I'm like, my grade's still good. I made Dean's List one of the semesters. That's like a 3.5 for the semester. So it's like my grades are still good. I still want to play ball. I'm trying to get into contacts with different coaches. I called the running back coach at Penn again. I'm like, no, I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get back into the Ivy Leagues because this ain't it. They're not treating me well, whatever. But then my sister gave me the call, and it's like, all right, no, nothing else matter. Coming back home. Ended up going to UNF. Didn't go to JU just because I like UNF better. And that's how people know for me it wasn't about football. It's like I could have went to JU and played football. But it's like, no, I want to go to a good school. UNF is a good school. So I chose UNF, and I chose the coach at Paxson. And that's why I ended up not playing there. I played flag, intramural flag, won a championship at UNF for intramural flag. But I really just bought into seeing the game from a coaching's perspective. After training so many of our friends and all that, and just trying to learn football from different aspects now that I'm taking a different kind of role and I'm older. So that's 2016 is where my coaching career really started. And then 2017, my sister actually beat her first kind of battle with breast cancer. And I was like, okay, I actually miss the people from Worcester. I miss the people in the environment. I don't really miss the school because I could study whatever anywhere, and I don't really miss football because I hate everybody. But at the end of the day, I was becoming something, and I was loving the people who I was around. And I went back, and I'm like, yo. So I didn't play football, which means I still got eligibility. For guys who don't know, you get 10 semesters of eligibility from D2 and down. D1 is where they got that running clock, where as soon as you play your first year of NCAA sports, you now have a 5-year running clock to participate 4 years. You have a 5-year running clock to participate 4 years for individual sports in Division I NCAA sports. Once you get to D2 and down, you get 10 semesters, different clock because different schools, different rules. And so now instead of, I played my first year of football at university in 2017, my last year of eligibility is 2022. And then some people got extensions because of the COVID years. But, that being my last year, maybe you get redshirted, you in your 6th year doing your master's or whatever. However your clock runs, your clock doesn't run D2 and down unless you're in school. So you can take a gap year in D2, D3 and still have your semesters of eligibility to play. But if you're in D1, you got 5 years to do it 4 times, no matter what. 5 years to do it 4 times as soon as you start. Overseas college is different. You play at any age. It's a club sport. You could be 18 years old playing against a 42-year-old motherfucker out of nowhere. Because that's just how they do it over there. So you can play grown man football a lot earlier if you go overseas where there's no kind of restrictions on eligibility. You can play 20 years in college if you went to college for 20 years. So eligibility works that way in the different levels of college. So I was telling the coach, hey, I got an extra year of eligibility, which means that I'm going to come back for my first senior year. That'd be my 3rd year eligibility, or it'll be my part of my semesters. So my 10 semesters of playing. So now that my semesters have been pushed back because I didn't play 2 semesters of football, boom, I can play this year and I can play my 5th year. Because if I would have played football somewhere else my junior year, I wouldn't have been eligible to play my 5th year. I would have been able to play my 4th year of college, but my 5th year of college, I'd no longer be eligible because I played all 4 years. So I didn't play in 2016. 2017 comes around. Hey, what's up? I'm trying to come back. This motherfucker still don't like me. The Italians. Nah, let me stop. I love Italian people. But the reason I bring up that he's Italian is because he's a family guy. And I do love Frank Colapri. I love the guy. Love the guy, love the guy. He has a certain way of doing things, and I respect that. At the end of the day, no matter what happened, I respect what happened because he's just trying to keep his program together. And I'm like, all right, cool. But he tells me that because I've left the team twice and, trust issues and such of the matter, I would have to prove that, like, I'm in it for the team. I would have to film my first senior year. I'd have to film all the practices and film all the home games. And this is like the year I would have graduated with. So these are my guys. I can't play with them. I got to watch them through a camera all year. And then I'm seeing my guy get hurt week 1, week 2, out for the rest of the season. I'm seeing my homie with a club doing everything he can. You know what I'm saying? We lose the last game in the rivalry. We all standing in the middle of the emblem like, damn, how the fuck did this turn out to be the year? And so I really took it upon myself to be like, you know what? I'm going to play next year, but I'm going to play for the guys around me. Because it's hard to love this sport when so much happens to you. From Harvard to Worcester, so much kind of happens politically. So much happens with you just trying to play football. And you got to deal with all this other stuff. You can't even focus on the game for real. That you just like, whatever, bro, I'm here. And that's where, my 5th year roll around. And I'm like, I'm a leader by example. I say stuff, whatever. Got voted as a team captain, and I think they vetoed it. The coaches, I think they vetoed it because of my kind of checkered past with them. So it's like, all right, at least give me 21. Because my first year I was 28, my second year I was 27, and then when I came back I was 21. So I finally got to get the number back, and then it was just like, all right, I got to play DB. I started at safety. They rotated me down the corner, and I got to show why I'm the best corner in the NCAC. Even if I ain't get no accolades neither. Every other corner, DB got first team, second team, third team, or mentioned in this. Whether it was all defense except one got special teams, but he did solid on defense too, and you can't get both. And if you look at my stats, I just look like it said 8 pass breakups. I have 11. 1 interception. I have 2. They reverse one. And then I think 17 tackles, a lot of them solo, because if you run to my side, good luck. I played linebacker. I hear y'all talking about how I played linebacker. Oh, you just did not look at my high school film. So that's a lot of what I got as a 5th year is just kind of like everybody using my past against me. Like that shit's supposed to get under my skin. It's like, motherfucker, I was supposed to go to Harvard. You're in fucking Denison. You got to sit out here in this weak-ass, cold-ass, where are we? Motherfucking, where is Denison? Shut the fuck up. I don't care. Read a book. But I can't say all of that. I just got to take all of that because I'm more mature than that. It's not about me. It's about the team or whatever. And I just had a real solid, productive year. But, yeah, I was trying my best to really get everything that I could out of it. But even then, did not play. That hurts my soul because it's way too much what if in that situation.
So, how'd you end up playing ball at Leeds Beckett? How did you even get into that? I'd never even heard it. I didn't even know they played football over there until I seen you doing it. So how'd you get into that?
See, that was raw because what happened is that I was bored. I definitely used my prepositions wrong, but I was bored. And I'm always bored, which is why I'm always doing stuff. So I was in the library. If I'm in the library, I'm either up to playing games because I done brought the game to the library, or I'm just trying to see who in the library. If I'm not doing one of those two things, I'm doing something very important. And that particular day, I was in the tech lab downstairs, and I was going over film because I was thinking about making a documentary on my football kind of situation. And then I'm checking my emails, and I check my junk folder, and I see play overseas, and it's a forwarded email from my head coach. And I'm like, why is this in my junk? I read it, and it says, hey, you could get a master's degree in a year and a half and like play the sport again. And I'm like, I get to lead a country. I get to study any course that I want. I didn't have to continue in computer science. I get a master's in anything. I just had to prove that I was like capable of like keeping up. It's not hard. I have a whole backlog of like digital media personalities and like content or whatever that I've done like over my life to supplement me being a documentary filmmaker coming out of computer science. So I'm like, okay, this sounds cool. Here go my film, fill out the form or whatever. Cool. Boom. They get right back to me. All right, these schools are interested in you. It was Leeds Beckett, and it was the other powerhouse, UWE Bristol, West England. And I was like, okay, they seem like I like this team, I like that team. They're both good. One is purple, so I'm looking over here. Because it really didn't matter to me. I was like, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do wherever. It's just about getting there. Like I say, I don't look at these institutions as what's the best institution for me. It's no, I don't care. Where do I get out of my situation? Because it's not working. I'm going to thrive wherever I go. Because I put it into myself. I'm not investing into institutions, just their resources. So I look at Beckett. They didn't beat UWE Bristol. They did. They beat UWE Bristol in the semifinals to go to the finals. And I believe they won the championship that year too. Yeah, they won the championship that year too. So that sold it for me off the winning tip. But it was the head coach, Dale Bottomley. Never forget the guy. He just retired from the team this year. He was doing a little tour of different like NFL and college facilities in Florida. And he called me to set up like just hang out with him, go to the kickbacks. And I still got the picture. I was wearing my cousin's Jags jersey. Not my cousin's Jags jersey, but a Jags jersey with my cousin on it. And I was just at the pub with a dude from England who's supposed to be my head coach. And I'm like, yeah, I like this dude. I can do this. Football finna be fun again. And that's what made me go over. Like, football was gonna be fun again. Because I didn't want to go into like a college football program and it be what like Worcester was, what Harvard probably would have been, what this. I didn't need that in my life again. I needed somewhere where football was where I can just do what I've always done, have fun, and then I'm focused on other things. And that's what it became. Like, it was very much more enjoyable. It wasn't stressful. Everybody out there to better themselves, have fun, or like learn a new sport. Ain't nobody out there over no egos, over no money, over nothing. Like, it's really just carefree football out there.
Gotcha, man. Damn. So how is it? What's the competition level like over there, man?
I would say if you playing just a run-of-the-mill team, it's equal to D3 NAIA. But if you play against some of these more solid teams, D2, easily D2. And then if you go on to maybe play in the professional leagues on a solid teams, then you get into more maybe D1 AA category. You'll never see a D1 type team, a true D1 team. You'll never see a powerhouse over there in the next, I don't know how many years, that could compete with a SEC or whatever. But you will see some guys who, like, maybe if you pop them into one of the smaller little conferences that they might hang, win a couple games, come close a few times. So it definitely helps to have like American guys over there, and like certain leagues and stuff have caps for how many American guys, because it's just actually that different. It's actually that different. People have to remember that football is not just a brute type of sport. It's a technique sport. So guys like me who've been playing this for 2 decades will always sauce the most athletic dude with 1 year of experience. Every single time. I just know more ways to beat you than you have ways of beating me. So it's one of those things where you really get to see the divide between time and nationality. But it's still football. Some people was raw their first year. So it's the same type of environment.
Gotcha. So I heard you say that your coach at Worcester said in order to prove yourself, he wanted you to film the entire season. So is that what got you into documentary filmmaking? Is that what got you into it? Or is that like...
I actually didn't want to go into documentary filmmaking, and I wanted to go into drama filmmaking, but they didn't have a master's drama course. They had a bachelor's drama course, but then they didn't have anything that kind of fit that in the Masters, just documentary. But I'm like, I like documentary. Like, that's fine. And all I really need is the camera. I'll go make my own films. I don't care. But I actually got interested in documentary once I got there, just because I learned that documentary can be so many different things. What I do on my Instagram is documentary. I don't really post to market myself. I don't really post to brag. I don't post to even update people. I say it sometimes because I am genuinely updating people, but the beauty behind like my social media right now is that I sincerely don't want to be on it, so I'm only using it as yellow journalism. So everything means something in the abstract that I'm trying to like give a heads up to about the world. I just posted like a Street Fighter 6 thing today. I made a clean comeback, but like the three lines underneath the video is like RoboCops in New York, everybody leaving Chicago, Texas. People will be like, what the fuck? Like, this has nothing to do with, but like all of the reels leading up to that were like genuine comments and statements about like fighting games, or like life or discipline, or like what I have, like my esports kind of life. But then it all like just kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why is that there? And now it's getting to the things that I want to speak about and touch on in like the public. So being able to use my social media platforms and all these kind of other existences. I used football all last year as like the main theme as a lot of these posts that I made. And it's just all trying to spread awareness to like things in society that the mainstream doesn't talk about. People are talking about it, but it's still not in the forefront. So that sort of documentary is something that I've been experimenting with, but I wouldn't even have known that it was possible had I not opened my junk folder one day and decided to say, let me kick it over with the Brits, play ball over there and try to get some more school going. So.
Gotcha. So the things you into outside of football, gaming, music, documentary filmmaking, what else?
Jump rope.
So how did you end up getting into those things? Like, how did you end up, like, was it just out of boredom, or was it like something you always wanted to do, or was it, how did you end up, how did that end up becoming part of your life?
I think I just like things that make me happy, and part of what makes me happy is being involved. And there's nothing more fulfilling than seeing ideas come to fruition. And when I was much younger, I was so kind of encapsulated by what I would see on TV and doing those things in real life. Like I said, Savannah, Georgia was a very poor place, but we had a cable set. One of us had a PlayStation, and we all had a football, basketball, trampoline, something. So you go outside and you find that excitement for the day. And that's what my days were like in Savannah. Go outside, find some fun, find some people. The same thing happened in high school, same thing happened in college. Go out, have fun, find some people, make some things. And everything that I tried, I liked. And a lot of liking things maybe comes from having success in it, because a lot of people ask me at this point, like, what don't I do? And I don't have that answer. And some people discourage themselves from doing things because they think they're bad at it. And I'm like, okay, no one's great when they start. People can be good when they start, but they're not their best. And if people are bad at something, there's nowhere but up. And I think we're starting to revert a little bit and letting what we're not, I think we're being too real with ourselves about where we are and what we're capable of. I think people are starting to buy into the idea that there's a window of time for growth. And it's like, no, we good. If you want to do something else, do something else. You're gonna start at the bottom. But if you're not growing, in the phases in your life that you've already chosen to go through, you have to be okay with that. If you're not, go choose something you're not good at and get good at it. You have to love the process, because it's the discipline that gets you where you want to be. Happiness. Because once you can do it, you'll be happy. So it's like you're the barrier between you and your happiness. The disbelief that you can't grow from these new kind of experiences.
Gotcha. Okay. See, that's a great way of looking at stuff, man. Because a lot of people just look at it like, okay, this is what I do, this is who I am. You know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
this might have been who you was 15 to 20? What about 21 to 99? You know what I'm saying? What about 21 to 25, 25 to 30?
Exactly.
You may not like the same thing you like at 25 that you do at 35. And you might not be good at it no more at 35, how good did you were
You
at
feel
25.
me?
You know what I'm saying? And it's a great way to look at things, and that you can grow in every aspect of your life and grow at every point in your life and grow in different ways. You don't always have to just grow in one linear fashion. You can grow like a tree. It grows in all different directions from its branches.
Exactly.
Grow up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's how I think that's a great way to look at how life goes for people. Most definitely. So now you know I gotta ask you some questions about some things that are going on in sports right now. So first thing I want to ask you, what do you think about the Ja Morant situation?
My opinion changed a couple times, but it never went backwards. It just got further, and I doubled down, triple down, quadruple. So when he first got in trouble with the gun, I'm like, bro is young. I'm not finna let it slide, because no, that's just something I'm against as a representation of yourself, a representation of the organizations that pay you to live the life. Like, Shannon did a great job of kind of like breaking down why he needs to be the person that he needs to be to maintain some control over his life at this point. And I was just like, yeah, just okay, you got the mistake out the way. Like, I'm very lenient when it comes to mistakes, because we all have to make mistakes. So that's a mistake. Nobody got hurt or anything, and like, we took the opportunity to learn from it, except for Ja. Boom, it happens again, and I was like, not even it happening again. I saw the apology, and I was like, that's not sincere. That's not sincere. He said not one word from the bottom of his heart. My man just kind of recited the get out of jail free card. So I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. I still didn't want to dismiss it, because maybe he didn't have the words. I said, I'll see it when I believe it. Round 2. Oh my God. All right, nope. It's your fault now. Everything that happens now is your fault. I wanted to bring the conversation towards, okay, look, we have way too many like expectations on young men, not just young black men, specifically men in sports. We have way too many expectations about maturity levels in sports. And I say that not because the bar shouldn't be high. I say that because we let the youth kind of figure it out themselves. And now you see Ja Morant is figuring it out for himself. And he's still trying to figure out how to finesse the situation so he could do his thing and keep hooping for all the money, all the deals. He's trying to figure that out, because his boy's probably in his corner trying to help him figure it out, which is how we get it's a toy gun. That would have been so smart if you said it in the live. Now we don't know if it's a toy gun or not. But that's the wrong conversation to have. You won't beat anybody with distraction. You'll beat people with discipline, with some accountability. You'll win people back over. Yeah, you know what? Man, Ja Morant, middle name head ass. If he came out and said that, I'd chuckle a little bit. Okay, he's accepted something about his decisions. What next? And then goes from there. So it's like I'm the type that'll breadcrumb myself through apologies, where I believe that very important standards and philosophies of life come to kind of grips with each other, and we have to figure out who we are as a society. We're still figuring who we are as a society based on a young man at not the peak of his career, wishfully, but a young man in a very important part of his life and his career where it can go away. We're seeing him continue to make the same bad decisions. And then at some point, we're going to give up on him if he continues the same path of bad decisions, where I don't know if there's someone in a position to kind of breadcrumb his apology. Okay, if you're sorry, why are you sorry? Get him to figure out his own words, his own mentality, so we know where he's thinking. Are you trying to get out of trouble, or are you trying to solve your problems? Because getting out of trouble is different than solving your problems. Getting out of trouble, you could get away from the first instance of trouble, but they might have a squad of problems waiting for you around the corner. But if you ain't got no problems, you ain't looking around corners. You looking around you at how beautiful everything is. So a lot of the paranoia that's kind of like entrenched in, I guess, I want to say the black community because that's what he's representing in South Carolina, and I've been through there. I'm from the Gullah. I'm from Savannah though, so I get where he's coming from. That's why I say I'm from a very poor place, and I get the social dynamics. I get how people try to get ahead, get away. Maybe that's what he's struggling with, but nobody is allowing him the space to not struggle with it. Like that's the problem I think he's facing. He's struggling with it, which is making him make bad decisions. So if we can remove the environment where there's so much pressure on him at 23 to make such a big life decision, or not fuck up his life in a big life decision, he'll make the better decision. Because we're telling him, hey, this is the correct way, but it feels like we're trying to kick him through the door instead of saying, like, look, here's this way, here's the way you was going. Like, we done seen too many people go through this door and ain't nothing but a cliff on the other side, bro. Who knows what's on this side, but it's way better than what's waiting for you over there. I think that's the sentiment he gets, but I don't think that's his reality. I think he's seeing too much. So.
So are you familiar with the holdout that college football players are doing right now?
Yeah. That's more my realm. Proud of them because 500 ain't enough. 500 is not enough, even with NIL deals. That's not y'all money, that's sponsorship money. Y'all are still the NCAA. They're still EA Tiburon. Y'all are still using players and people's likelinesses to make money off of. Like, no, give them they cut. Give them they cut. There's plenty of money to go around. Now, maybe this may be due to the video game industry becoming an industry where the titles are becoming way too expensive to produce. But that's also incumbent on the developers, the publishers, game studio publishers themselves, for placing developers in this situation where they have extreme budgets that they have to come out with a great product and still turn a profit. You're not going to turn a profit putting in Hollywood movie money into video games. Not everybody playing video games like that right now. The pandemic is over. So you're trying to tell everybody to, work with this amount of money, work hard on this game, and turn out a product that's going to, pay you dividends. But then there's still people who even make the experience possible. So in this scenario, the people who make the experience possible are the college players. Without any NCAA football, there is no NCAA football video game. To then say $500 and then, there you go. We get to put your body in a game, your likeness, your stats, we study you, all of that stuff. We get to put you in a game, $500. And then we're going to go over here and for the rest of our lives, as much as we keep selling this game, selling these ultimate team packs and all of this, we could run it up. You got your 500 though. Same thing with the writer's strike. It's like the main thing with the writer's strike is streaming, to where the contracts that get written with streaming versus TV is you don't get those royalties when they air those episodes anymore because it's streamed. Like, they just pay you to put it on the stream. That's all you see. People stream up and down all around every year. You don't see none of that money. But if it's on TV, every time that play, if you was in that part of that, you get that check. They ain't getting that because ain't nobody watching TV. Everybody's streaming. So it's a direct parallel to where, like, we're buying you in, but we not cutting you out.
Okay. So, do you think the 500 mark is so low because of the amount of players, or is it just because that they try to turn a profit on the game?
I think there's no precedent, and I think what makes it worse is NIL deals. I think if there are no NIL deals, because they are the NCAA, not the NCAA, the people who represented the players in the NCAA already won the legal battle against EA for using college player likenesses and not getting paid. They already said you can't do that. That's why NCAA football went away. They couldn't do that anymore. So like I said, without the experience that is college football, there is no college football video game. The point with which they couldn't monetize off of their likeliness, the game went away. Everything went into Madden because it's the NFL. Contracts are signed, everybody making money for real now. So we ain't got to worry about that too much. We in the game. We made it to the league. We in the game. But in college football, you still ain't nobody yet. But you in the game. So like you have to really think about how these businesses are trying to spend the least amount of money that they can. Like NIL deals have now put the onus on the sponsorship money to start paying these other people. That's part of the reason why the game came back. Okay, if students are professionals now because they're receiving sponsorships through NIL deals, okay, that's where their money get to come from. We'll give them a little bit to put them in the game, but you can't argue that we're profiting off of them. They can get sponsorships. Play harder.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's backtrack a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between the recruiting scene now and the recruiting scene when you were coming out of high school?
The recruiting scene now feels like trying to get followers on Twitter. I mean that both figuratively and literally. And I don't like how socialized the recruitment process has become, only because we've turned recruitment into a popularity contest to where all you got to do is make one play in some odd span amount of plays, clip it out, put it in. Hey, this is me. Now you got teams look at your film, pick you up, and it's like, bro, you're not making this play all the time. And on top of that, it'll be a 7-on-7 clip. They'd be like, bro, you're not running this play in real football. Y'all playing basketball right now with no goal. Like if the goal was to just throw a rebound, oh y'all are playing the game of the century. But we not out here to throw rebounds. We are here to take a football and get it to another side of a line. I don't need all of these like jump ball kind of guys. I need guys who gonna push motherfuckers forward and backwards. So the making football a spectacle, making sports a spectacle where it's all about the highlights. One reason Americans don't like soccer is because they say it's low scoring. I just saw a joke that was like, they don't understand why Americans don't like soccer and say it's because it's low scoring, because football is low scoring. There's a lot of imaginary points everywhere. Like the scoring at 21-14 is 3-2. And I was like, valid. Because yeah, it's just a lot of points everywhere. Whatever, this is worth this, but it's 3-2. And but in the meantime, in between time, you got dudes running into folks. You got those rebound go getters and stuff. And like, not to knock it to those guys, it's just like that's just an aspect of the sport. It's not that I don't appreciate it. It's just not complete football. Complete football goes from the front 7 to the back 7. That's not complete football we playing. We just playing pass pro right now. Don't nobody care about no pass pro. We want to run the football too. So like outside of that, everything is spectacular. And if you're not spectacular, you ain't going nowhere. And it's sad because so many kids work so hard just to get beat by some kid who go to a school that they got all the cameras and views on them. They on ESPN. They historically got guys in the league. And it's like you can't get no look at what you got going on because Cam Newton went to your high school. Cam Newton went to your high school. And now he's taking teams from other cities, other states, other than 7-on-7 everywhere, and all of his guys are getting like the promotion. I'm not finna bite on Cam Newton. I know it's there. I'm pretty sure kids from Cam Newton school get recruited and he helps those kids too. But to put it in perspective of a guy who could be in Cam Newton's position but doesn't put the work in like him. I met Cam in Bradenton for IMG. So like I've seen how hard he goes for all of these kids. He tried to get all of them the same opportunity that he had. But there's guys who actually like don't really care too much about that, or they don't care enough to take that next step and keep it like at their school. And the larger point to that when it comes to recruitment is you can have a guy who is, larger than everything and had a great NFL career, come from one high school. He uses his brand, his name, his likeliness to go, and do football ventures around, wherever. Meanwhile, there's a kid at his high school working extremely hard who isn't going to benefit from the exposure that is Cam Newton's brand in his 7-on-7, in his showcases, in his camps. He'll get it as a high school player. That's harder. They don't expect you to be good because you went to Cam's high school. They expect you to be good because you play for them. So it's harder. Like, that loyalty don't even mean much no more. So just the spectacle, not a fan.
Okay, so we all know Deion Sanders went from Jackson State to Colorado,
Yeah,
and now he's having a bunch of different players transfer out.
yeah.
What do you think the reason for that is?
I think the reason is I think it's a bit selfish, and it's where I disagree with him. I throughout this whole kind of like process, I've been both in his corner, but from a distance, because it's like I see the decisions he's making, and it makes sense in the context of the world and like historically, but in the context of like the kids and moving forward, I think it's a bad precedent to say a guy can come in and uproot everything that you understand about the community that you've built around the sport for his own motives. So Deion just, I'm going to win. Ain't nobody win out here. Now we about to win. Righteous. That's fine. That's cool. He's like, just did it over there in Jackson State. Did it for HBCUs first. Can't nobody come at me for that. I did it there. Coming here, now I'm taking guys out of the HBCUs in places where they can. He can argue that, and he'd be correct. And he would argue that he's setting a higher standard for a school that doesn't have high standards. He would be correct in every way. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, continue, my man.
Damn, I don't forgot where I was now.
Yeah, man. But it's all good.
Cam Newton High School recruitment, and then we went after what?
Deion Sanders.
Deion, right? Okay, so yes, sir. Deion Sanders. Okay, I do remember where I was now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go ahead, my man.
So essentially, you can't just have one side of the story where it's like, okay, yeah, Deion's doing a lot of great things right now. He has his own reasons. He's going about it in a meaningful way, in a way that works. However, I have empathy, not sympathy, which means I actually feel like for these guys. I have empathy for these guys being in a situation that I was in at Worcester when it comes to like pure authoritative or authoritarian style, like coaching, mentorship, even down to parenting, to where it feels like you have no say, no rights as a player, as a person, as a whatever. So I'm not in favor of the structure of it, but I have to accept that it's a type of structure that exists. I just don't think that the structure is fair to the students in a way that is meaningful to them. You could say that if they buy in, they'll be more successful, or they should just step up, or if they, you could say anything. You could say they're just making excuses. At the end of the day, a lot of those kids signed to play for certain people, play with certain people, do a certain thing, and football may not have been the highest thing on their priority list. They just out here bettering themselves in a nice program where they're doing it, and this not the program they signed up for. So if they're like Deion said, they're willing to go, but it's like that wasn't their choice. He just got the job. So it's one of those where if you have an opinion on it, just make sure it's accurate. But you can't really demonize a player. You can't demonize Deion. You can't demonize the transfers in or out. I don't think I think this is just one of those hard kind of like realities of give and take. Leaders of the world. He Deion Sanders, man. He earned it. But like, man, what a way to impose it.
Gotcha. All right, now my last question, man. Do NIL deals hurt or help the college sports landscape?
I had optimism coming in that it would help. I knew we were gonna get it wrong to start. I didn't think it would take this long, but it's because we did start really. We found a way to scam kids. We found a way to scam kids. You know that's all they're gonna focus on, cause now they get to do it sooner. You get an NIL deal as soon as you graduate. Man, we done told these kids you don't gotta do nothing no more. Come on, step out on the field, be raw. Step out on another field, be raw. Step out on the field, be raw. We gonna step out on that field with them cleats, eat the cereal, drink the powder. Yeah. Oh, you raw. We got that guy. Yeah, we got him. That's how it feels, like in my eyes. And so I'm gravely against anything that feels like slave auctioning or anything that feels just manipulative. And I think there's just too many ways that we can get kids caught up in an aspect of life that could harm or ruin them for the rest of it. So I think we're aging kids up too fast with NIL deals. I think there's a way we can still do them, but I think they would need to be done through a similar process like scholarships. Like you can have a sponsorship company, some brand or whatever, come to a university and be like, hey, we'd like to have five of your athletes to your discretion represent our brand. However you go about that is how you go about that. Give us the 5 names. This is what we'd be having them do. So everybody knows what they're getting involved in. The right guys get involved into it, because a coach isn't going to give a guy who can't socially accept the role of having an NIL deal if that's not his wheelhouse. If he's just a kid that's just focused on school and football, keep it that way. So now we get the right guys in these positions. We maybe get money into guys' pockets who are more intangible leaders. We get those backup quarterbacks with sponsorships instead of scholarships. We get those 5th string wide receivers who, when he get in a game, he gonna catch a pass or 2, but he's doing very important things in his studies. So we're gonna get money getting money to more guys in more ways, in more useful ways. I'm always in favor of that, but I'm not in favor of the carrot on the stick.
Thank you, man. That was a great interview, man. Is there anything you want to promote or get off your chest before we turn the camera off, my man?
Tell people what you don't like about them. Tell them that to their face. It'll save you some time, and you really get to really see if people are willing to not only take criticisms, but if they're able to evolve. If you see there's something about a person that is not only detrimental to themselves, but maybe to the greater society, if they continue to behave that way, think certain ways or whatever, be open to having that conversation with them and disagreeing and doing something about it. I think we got lost in, just because that was dramatic. I like this. just because we kind of get lost in, we can get along if we disagree. Doesn't mean that we should stop trying to persuade. We all got to move forward. We all got to change. Time's going to change, so the people got to change with it. So tell people what you don't like about them, but remember that work towards a place where you can tell somebody what you do like about them, and also tell them the things that they do that you like about them as well. Don't just attack people off of what you don't like about them, but don't be afraid to speak up for, what you see in other people, because you never know whose mind you might change. So tell that person that you don't like how they. Nah, I'm chilling, but yeah, that's it. That's my advice.
Definitely, man. Thank you, man. And that was our first interview with Creative Moments with Derrick Florence, aka Moonman Flo.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
man.
Love.
Most definitely.